Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Steph from the Hot Move Podcast. Happy Tuesday. Man, it seemed like the NFC coaches just, you got Mike McCarthy on a hot seat, right? Trying to win a playoff game, try to get this high-powered offensive team and high-powered defensive team to an NFC championship game. Didn't work out, right? So people are questioning, is Mike McCarthy the man for the job in Dallas? And then you also got Nick Sirianni, right? Is Nick Sirianni the guy? You see how the Eagles collapsed towards the end of the season, and it just wasn't good. And then now we got New York Giants head coach Brian Daboll. Right now, this is the stuff that's come out about Brian Daboll is I don't want to say disturbing, like not too dramatic, but I mean it's a lot. I mean he's created a hostile work environment, right? And Brian Daboll looks like a little angry man on the sideline with a little beard. He looks like a little lawn gnome. And yeah, so let's get into it, man. So, reports were coming out about just the dysfunction of the New York Giants going on with them, right? And Giant staff members had major issues with Brian Daboll. So Brian Daboll and the defensive coordinator, was it Mark, what's his name? Winkendale? Wink Martindale. They had a fallout, right? And Martindale ended up resigning because they had some blowouts, right? So New York Giants head coach Brian Daboll spent much of the 2023 season cultivating a very difficult work environment with the organization. Okay, so the report from Pat Leonard of the New York Daily News illustrated a number of issues with Daboll's management, accusing him of destructive sideline behavior and lack of composure. The behavior supposed to be contributing to the breakdown of his relationship with Wink Martindale, who resigned, of course, right? Daboll was reportedly a frequent critic of offensive coordinator Mike Kafka, who was constantly second guess. At times, Daboll take away play calling duties only to restore them each time. During one game against Dallas, Daboll's frustrated remarks to the defense were so prominent that Martindale had issues getting play calls in, and he also blamed Martindale for some losses. The head coach also received criticisms for impulsive game management. It got bad. This is saying that it got bad that the GM for the Giants started listening in on the headset calls of Brian Daboll and pretty much kind of confirmed some of these claims. Man, this is bad, man. Nobody's suggesting that Daboll's job is in jeopardy, especially after hugely successful in 22. However, it does sound like he may need to clean some things up going forward. Does he? You don't see. That's funny though, right? Like once as a head coach, once your staff has seen, like, first of all, players got to, want to follow you and trust you. And it seemed like in the 2022 season, he was turning things around. He came in there, got them to the playoffs, won a playoff game. Daniel Jones seemed like was getting some confidence back. And then to start this season, it seemed like Daniel Jones started losing confidence. And Brian Daboll was, you can tell, I mean, based on these reports that, he's breathing out his neck, making things uncomfortable for Daniel Jones. I mean, I think Daniel Jones is a good quarterback. I just think he just turns the ball over way too much, right? But, I mean, you're in a leadership position. You know what I'm saying? You will never hear reports like this to this extent coming out of the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? Like a coach like Mike Tomlin. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the Giants are a historic franchise as well. You know what I'm saying? You don't hear, even when there's chaos within organizations, you don't hear it get to stuff like this doesn't come out. And then the details of what he was doing, you know what I'm saying, getting on the defensive coordinator, blaming him, the defensive coordinator, Mark Whittendale's trying to call the plays while you're chastising him, arguing with him, you're not letting your offensive coordinator call plays, the staff around you is just not uncomfortable. It's uneasy. I get it. You want to be this rah-rah guy and shake things up and, my way or the highway. That just doesn't work in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? These NFL, they're ran like a business. The teams that are ran really well, everybody knows their pecking order. Everybody respects the chain of command. Everybody is assigned their roles and responsibilities to do their job, and nobody's trying to overlap outside of adding healthy critique and input. You know what I'm saying? That's my assumption. That's what I would assume. You know what I'm saying? You don't hear stuff like the head coach, questioning and chastising and de-coordinating them, arguing and trying to take calls away from the offensive coordinator and then giving it back and just being very erratic, and it seemed like Brian Daboll has just been very emotional. And my next point really is this reports of Antonio Pierce getting a job as a defensive coordinator if the Giants don't want him, right? I'm sorry, if the Raiders don't want him. And I just think, like, man, Antonio Pierce has played for the Giants, but would he want to be a defensive coordinator under Brian Daboll, or is he potentially the Brian Daboll replacement as a New York Giants head coach. So that is something to keep in mind of, man. But I thought it was very interesting coming out of New York. You know, Brian Daboll, I mean, he looks like a typical scumbag kind of coach anyway. You know what I'm saying? He looks very, on the sidelines, he's very erratic, very emotional, always jumping up and down. You know what I'm saying? He's just like, I can definitely see how, you know, I mean, even without this report, and it was just like, I can just see how he can make people feel uncomfortable and cause problems. He might be a good coach still. I know he had success in Buffalo and everything like that, man. But I mean, you know, you're in New York now. You are in the bigger. You're with the bigger New York team in the bigger market. So everything you do is going to get magnified times 10. Could this be as bad as it stayed? I mean, the defensive coordinator resigned. He had $3 million left on his contract. He bounced. He parted ways, right? He leaves because he does not want to work with this man. So I can't imagine anybody else want to work with him. And I hope that's not the case for Antonio Pierce. So anyways, guys, let me know what y'all think about all this, man. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe. I'm out.